Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours. And welcome to the exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene takes place in Agrabah Nights, that eatery at the edge of the universe, that place to dine that's so sublime, that place to sit that don't give a shit. What else can I rhyme? Anyway, it's all good. This evening's scene will take place in, as I said, in Agrabah Nights. It is a pretty nondescript evening. Not much is happening. The restaurant itself is not by any means crowded tonight. There are a handful of people who are huddled around their small tables deep in conversation. In one corner, there will be this individual who is sitting and drinking tea from a china cup. He has a large book in front of him that he is casually scribbling in. And we will do the introductions. So, Mr. King,
Yes.
you are first, sir.
Uh, Mr. King will come trudging into Agrabah Nights, a bit unshoveled from his usual self. Um, he will have the light air of beer on his clothes, and he will be with his trademark briefcase. But some person may notice, if they are astute, that one of the latches is not done. Um, he is also not wearing his glasses at this moment, which is a bit odd for him. But he comes in, sits not at the same table as Mr. Wilhelm, but instead will sit to where he can be within line of sight of him. Will sit down, pop open his remaining thing on his briefcase, and begin flipping through his papers within his briefcase, while muttering something about a bourbon worth a damn. Pow.
Laddie?
Lottie for herself. Well, what time is it in Dublin right now? It's probably like a decent hour ish.
Like
2
half
o'clock?
three in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning? Half.
Half three.
Ah, it's a decent hour. That's still decent time. It's decent hour for Lottie.
I was going to put that
Lottie comes stumbling in.
Agrabah Nights doesn't close.
Hmm?
Fun fact.
Exactly. Um, at this wonderfully decent hour in the pre-morning, late evening, Lottie will come stumbling in. She's got confetti in her hair and different types of body glitter. None of them are hers, but you know what? That's just what happens when you work for parties. And as she walks, little bits of confetti fall from her clothes. She grabs a seat. Good day at work. Good day. Good day. Looks
How
fine.
drunk? How drunk are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Lottie's not drunk. She's been working. She's just tired.
Oh,
The feeling of dealing with other people's joy, being responsible for that rush of adrenaline and the joy of partying. It's more than enough for her. That and it's a little late to be drinking, and she probably hasn't eaten yet, so she's here at Agrabah Nights for food.
Wilhelm closes his book. For the record, Mr. Beauregard is intimately familiar with this book.
Oh, God.
This is
Right.
his book. Yeah.
Oh, God. I know it's in that book, but frankly, right now, I don't give a damn.
As he stands up, you will see the book will shrink from this huge, large leather-bound volume into basically a pocket book that he will place into his pocket as he stands up and appears to be making himself ready to leave.
Lottie will wave to Grim. Is that
Ah, guten Tag, Frau Ortega. Ja, das ist your name.
ich, ich bin Fräulein Lottie.
Ah, wie geht es gut?
I'm a Meister of Ecstatics. Sorry. Sag mein
I've,
Beach in Deutsch.
I know well who you are. It is a pleasure to see you again. And it would appear as though you have been drinking in it would appear you have been drinking in the joy of the evening, no?
Yes, well, helping others do that. Honestly, I haven't gotten more than like 3 bottles of water all day.
Oh dear, that is not to do.
No, it's the pre-spring break blues, where people want it to be spring break, but not spring break just yet, so you gotta bring a little bit of spring beforehand. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to sleep when spring break happens. I'm looking forward to it. My wallet will be happy. My soul will hurt.
I should hope that it does not damage you too greatly, mein Fräulein.
Aww, Dankeschön.
And Mr. King, a pleasure to see you again, mein Freunde.
He will take a sip of the bourbon worth a damn that I imagine is on his table now.
Mm-hmm. No, it isn't. You didn't say poof.
Oh, I did say poof.
Ah, then it is. Aha!
Uh-huh. He's just going to hold it. He's going to look at Wilhelm. Just nod. Just the man I wanted to see.
Oh, it's always so good to be wanted. How may I be of assistance, Master Beauregard?
Well, if I'm going to be frank with you, Wilhelm, I was attacked the other night.
Oh, mein Gott.
You alright, Mr. King?
He points to his skull inside my mind.
Ooh.
Something came into my dreams and tried to keep me there.
That is most disturbing.
I was able to
Yeah.
repel the thing, this entity, which I could not tell you whence it came, but could tell you that it seemed to radiate and be made of the patterns of the mind and something else that I am not familiar with.
Does that sound like something you would know about, Mr. Grimm?
I think that Mr. Beauregard has harped on to the fact that I know a great many things.
You know a lot more than you put in that damn book, I know that.
He taps the book with one finger, almost like he's contemplating it, and he says, "This is only what I could put to paper.
I didn't ask to learn more, sir. I know you know more.
Certain things are best forgotten. I'm sure you'll agree with that statement, Mr. Beauregard."
Yeah, if you can forget. I'm not so lucky sometimes.
As for what attacked you, I honestly don't know. It could be one of many things. What form did it take?
Initially, it took the form of what it wanted me to think was my wife and my child, but I have no child. But at the time, I couldn't put that together. It tried to, from what I know, I think it tried to feed off the memory of the grief I had over losing my wife.
That's a dick move, man.
Pretty much.
I'll get my map.
But I was able to get rid of it, as I said, but I felt it leave my mind. So I don't think it's done.
Grim kind of taps his finger on his chin, and he says, "Certain things are born from the mind, the creation thereof, the ability to perceive the unperceivable or dream the undreamable. But it also so it is that negative creations of the human psyche also gain and garner power because we feel them. Neuroses, insanity, ill feeling, hatred, malice, all of these things eventually personify. What you encountered could well have been one of these echoes of the dark part that lurks within all of us, the collective unconscious."
You're not wrong. Just figured I'd make it aware at the veritable hub of this city that there is something going around, to the point that I'm actually going to get off my sorry ass and put a, for lack of a better way to put it, a dream catcher up.
That might be an excellent idea. in order to make it so that people can sleep soundly in their beds.
I more had the thought of returning my mind to a different mental state in the event that something did overtake me. But yes, for that's another way to put it.
Hmm.
So be aware, there's something most likely popping around that could try to take over your brain. You
Are
notice
you
he's
Some
very tired looking.
fun. I'm so sorry.
are you versed in the arts of the mind sphere, or I'm not exactly sure what it is referred to in the Technocratic Union?
Uh, Sphere is fine to say. You may not know,
Little sneer.
but I am now part of the Hermetic Order.
I do, however, I'm
Aw.
referencing what you were, not what you are.
Fair enough. Uh, think of them as specialties, if nothing else.
Are you versed in that particular specialty?
I'm adequate, enough that I can defend myself.
Good.
I could be better. I am more suited to the acknowledgement and manipulation of the time sphere and the primal energies of the world.
Yeah. Well, I would warn that there is the predator who would prey upon your innermost thoughts, that innermost desire, fear, whatever you would call it, that that would be the best way to guard and safeguard yourself against it.
I think, as I said, I'm going to attempt to put up the dream catcher, as I said, for now. But I think I will be just fine.
From an out of character point, he is going to make a recommendation, and you as Link can feel free to do this. He's going to recommend that Agrabah Nights has a notice board, so in character, if you would like to write a small proviso slash warning slash whatever, and put it in the rumors section, just saying this was placed on the notice board in Agrabah Nights, please feel free to do so.
I will likely do this. Maybe not at this moment, but I will likely do this.
In that case, I shall bid you both good evening. It has been a pleasure to see you again, Herr King, and a pleasure to see you again, Fraulein Lotti. I hope that you both have a pleasant evening, so the hour is growing very late.
Yes, yes, understood.
Sleep well.
Good evening. He will walk out back around nights.
Miss Lottie, been some time.
It has been a while, hasn't it, Mr. King?
Yes. I believe
That's
I believe last you and I had any kind of interaction, you want to use your lovely baseball bat on me still.
yes. Yeah. Interesting how things change, more or less.
You are looking at the time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that's not still a desire. At least not here.
No, not a desire on you, Mr. King.
Good. Is everything going good with your endeavors then? Are your business proceedings going well?
Is this really hard for you? Because you seem really awkward.
No,
Yeah.
I I'm not. Sorry.
Look, I no longer want to bash your head in with my baseball bat.
That's good.
Was I a little hurt that, well, friend was basically, part of the evil organization? Yeah.
To be fair,
Are bygones bygones? I don't know.
eh,
But you never specifically hurt myself or people we knew.
I'd like to think I helped in some ways.
You really did. Which is why there's kind of a little bit of a gray area. There's not a little. There's a lot of a gray area in a span of 2 years.
It's very, very much true. I mean, there's a reason I've basically
Including
kept
the
my
6 months I knew of you.
there's a reason I've kept my head down and mainly focused on my business. Which, speaking of, is going quite well. Um, if you
I'm
know
glad it
anyone
is.
that's in need of a job, tax season is coming up.
Oh god, yes it is. Well, you're definitely gonna be busy.
Yes, I am. Are you needing your books balanced?
Probably. I usually just use TurboTax.
The look
Cringe.
of disgust on his face.
I know, but I don't necessarily trust myself with the intricate formulas of making sure I don't owe the government money that I don't have.
He's just going to give the really but really face going on.
I am aware that my capabilities in the manner of tax law are not where they should be or could be.
More of the really but really. Like, I'm sorry, it's this look right here.
Just pure disappointment.
Miss, you're sitting across from a person who can do it just fine, who would give you a reasonable rate.
Yeah, but I haven't spoken to you in 2 years.
Yeah, but you're speaking to me now.
I know.
Kids,
I want bygones to be settled.
this is a
And
business
also, it's a little
transaction.
weird to ask. It's a little weird to ask of a business transaction from a friend.
This is a business transaction. And no offense, but I don't know if we're friends, Miss Lottie. I wouldn't consider you an enemy, but I don't know if we're friends.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of hesitating over the friend thing. It's a little bit of a asterisk next to it with like parentheses and brackets
To
full of
be
like
fair, I don't.
question marks and kind of squiggles of like little emojis of somebody going
To be fair, the only quote unquote friends I have in this city are. And he actually stops to think. Um,
mm-hmm.
Oh yes, please
I
do
would
finish
count.
that sentence.
I
Please
would
do
count.
finish that sentence, Apprentice. Please finish it.
Well, to be fair, Master, you're not a friend. You're a teacher,
This is acceptable.
Do
and
thine eyes deceive me, or is it the lovely Madame de Nafre?
I would count Master Siren as a friend, but only by technicality.
Whiskey, neat,
Siren
two
is
glasses.
very friendly.
Whiskey, neat, two glasses. She sits down. She wraps her arm around Lottie's midsection, pulls Lottie incredibly close, and kisses her right on the forehead.
Hello to you too.
Hello. It has been a day. She then knocks
I
back.
can see that.
She then knocks back one of the shots of whiskey.
Um, I
I
need
can
to
see that.
actually get your opinion on something since you're here, Master. I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
That's because I've been dealing with politics and it's been painful on every level. Continue.
That's actually the reason I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, fuck my
Oh
life.
God, no, not politics. Not
Yes.
politics.
Um,
Lottie tries to turn away.
I'm wanting to
Oh.
strengthen the seat we have here, and I'm thinking about running, well, buying my way into public office here.
I like
Lottie
how we,
stops turning
I
and
like how we've
turns back.
I like how we've just completely lost the concept of having any kind of working political system and have just gone straight to fiscal capitalism. But
To be
sure,
fair, you need money to get ahead, and I have that now.
I mean, I could argue you need
Here's,
match.
Pardon?
go on, Mr. King.
I have money now. My business was quite successful. I paid off roughly $500,000 in 6 months.
Hmm.
Damn.
You don't need my blessing to go into public office, so...
Your opinion.
Oh. She knocks back the other shot of whiskey. Honestly, I'm a big believer in the whole concept of follow your dream. So, I don't know, is being a public servant your particular cup of tea?
Not that. My dream actually consists of ridding myself from anything that causes me a nightmare, but that's a different story for another day.
I would argue that humanity is oftentimes the sum total of its nightmares.
I'm not talking about that.
Mr. King, do you need like a hug or a shot or whiskey?
I have my bourbon. I'm all right. This is part of why I said I can't forget things. I learned things that I can't forget, and some that I'll never talk about.
D'Onofrio stands
Yeah.
up. She pours a dram of your whiskey into a fresh shot glass that she will poof into existence. She knocks it back and she says, "Good God, that's Tennessee heresy! Ah, oh,
I said worth a damn. I didn't say exorbitant.
Ugh.
Exorbitant.
Whiskey should not be sweet."
I
Well,
think that's bourbon.
it is.
I know. Oh well. She
Well,
throws.
It literally smells like vanilla on crack.
She
What did you
throws
think it was
herself.
going to taste like?
She throws herself back down in the chair beside Lottie, and she says, "Look, you're a member of the house that tends to like doing politics, so go play politics if that's what you want."
I'm thinking about it. Admittedly, for an ulterior purpose, but
Aren't all politics for an ulterior purpose?
yes, but it has nothing to do with the politics of the mundane humanity here. It has everything to do with protecting them, though.
I still feel like some of our politicians are actually lizard people, so I think you're still on the right track.
If it helps, you're not exactly wrong. But that
No,
would...
I've heard stories, but that's the extent of what I can say.
I know I'm not wrong.
Tell me. Actually, you're a good person to ask about this, Lottie, being an ecstatic, yes?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the feasibility would be of creating an invisible shield around the city to protect this dwellers within the city from outside mental assault?
Outside mental assault.
Yes.
Would there be capability to protect within the inside? Or
That would
to
probably be a little bit
deflect?
harder to manage. I'm more thinking a raw deflection.
Need an intense amount of mind.
also, the Tellurian would kick up a shitstorm.
That too. Also, our whole shtick is with consent. You'd have to get a unanimous agreement of protection.
To be fair, I'm not talking about any kind of physical thing. I'm talking about someone deciding, oh, we're going to wipe out the thought of something from an entire group of people.
I will point out that ultimately what you're deciding, because essentially your plan is a decision that you take on behalf of everyone, that is a technocratic position.
I mean, I never lied about
Yeah.
what some of my beliefs still are.
No, but ultimately, if you remove the conscious choice from the individual, at that point, we are no better than they are.
Also, you get a whole bunch of static going at your way
Eh,
just so you could undo it so people could get a choice. But if we were to be completely hypothetical,
yeah, I'm mainly talking about someone just trying to make zombies out of our entire city populace and avoiding that.
you'd need something physical in order to intake that ward. Big enough mind effect. You need something that would perpetually do it, a continuous kind of protection.
I'll tell you this much: I won't be
Sometimes,
tapping into a ley line because that's just stupid.
It would
oh
also
yeah,
require
no, don't do that.
it would also require such an amount of quintessence just to power on a day-by-day basis that you're talking about possibly hooking up a series of incredibly high-level nodes together just to power the damn thing.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that, and he's actually going to finish his bourbon to the point that I actually need to make a check because he's taking way too much at once.
Okay, make me a stamina check. Difficulty 6.
7, you mean? I'm elderly.
Oh yeah, you have the elderly flaw.
I get 1 success.
Okay, you're feeling buzzed, but you're still in control.
So, what if I were to tell you that I have a theory? And that theory relies on quantum temporal resonance. Meaning, you cast a spell, for example, and forgive me, I hate using that word, but it's the only word I can use right now. Say you cast a spell, I don't know, to make your coffee hot one day. And you do the same thing the next day and the next day and the next day. And it keeps it hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you were to cast that spell all those days at the same thing at the same time? And I don't mean at the same time, I mean at the same time in different times.
Yeah, creating some kind of impression within the time stream. Something that is automatic, or not automatic, but it is an active force making
The
itself.
ability to hold an effect, in essence, to trigger it at a specific point in time, is a rather significant advancement in the time sphere itself. You have to reach above the adept level in order to do so.
Yes, it's something that is beyond my scope at the moment, I'm aware.
For example, you will see her hold out her hand, and in her hand at the moment there is a seed. You will then see her clench her hand together, and you will feel, if you want to make the perception awareness roll, I'm happy to say just get it. You know that she is currently casting magic.
Okay.
At which point she kind of throws the seed to Lottie, just like, catch.
Tries to catch.
You can just catch it. I'm not going to make you roll it. The seed bursts into bloom as soon as Lottie catches it, and then sitting in her hand, there's a very small lotus flower.
Romantic. Thank you.
You sped up the time of the object itself, assuming it got caught.
No, incorrect. What I did was I used a basic life effect in order to make the flower bloom, but I used a specific amount of time to set the trigger that it would only bloom in the hands of Miss Lottie Ortega.
Ah, fair.
So, I'm demonstrating how that particular area of expertise functions.
That's fair. Hold on. This may help a little. He's going to take a scrap piece of paper out, and he's going to begin writing furiously on it. And literally, he's talking about the possibility of casting something at the same time to create a resonance that bounces off of itself. And he's drawing a crude diagram that effectively what it would look like is a magic circle within a magic circle within a magic circle on 4 axes, if that could be drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually want to put a mind effect on it that anyone who's looking at it can understand it. Or that's easier to understand, I should say. Mind too can make it easier. I don't think I can make people understand period, but they have to have a basis.
I mean, considering your company, you don't really need to. It's pretty self-explanatory, unless you want to do magic for the sake of doing magic.
Well, he doesn't know that. That's the whole thing.
D'Onofrio kind of quirks an eyebrow looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of those perfectly those perfectly sculpted brows goes up.
Sure.
And she says, "An interesting concept."
Yeah, this is a theory. I don't know if it can be done.
Ultimately, if you want to actually talk about time, I'm only so good. The thing I just did, where I handed off the seed, that's about the height of my time knowledge. But if you wanted to talk to someone who is very good at time, I'd recommend talking to Master Simon. That is, after all, his wheelhouse.
Really?
Yeah. We all kind of, the few masters that remain in Dublin kind of all have our things. So I'm Forces, he's Time, Sideshow's Mind, Gravedigger, his Spirit, and Grim is Correspondence.
That reminds me, Master D'Onofrier, as much as I don't want to and as much as I've been avoiding it, I will start attending the basic lessons for the Forces sphere.
Why?
Because I believe every member of the Order should have a basic knowledge of every sphere. And well, who am I if I cannot back up my own beliefs?
That is a very, very, very Bonasagas thing to say, but yes.
A very what now? Jason didn't hear that.
She said that is a very Bonasagas thing to say, but yes. You see her take a Zippo lighter out of her pocket and she throws it at King. Like, eat.
He grabs it.
She'll say, "Cool. Well, you can come to my class tomorrow morning. You're gonna need that."
All right, fair enough.
And you teach him how to go foosh. She'll say it with her little hand, with her hand going foosh.
It may take a little while. I have my own classes that I teach when somebody bothers to come by, and he doesn't glare at anybody in particular. It's kind of a sideways look, and he just mutters something about a research paper he wrote.
What do you teach?
Oh God!
I'm sorry, but unless you get permission from the local master of the city, I cannot divulge that secret.
Unfortunately,
okay, never mind.
But for the record, when Lottie says, "Do you want to make things go whoosh?" D'Onofrio kind of grips her waist tighter and whispers in her ear, "Well, we could always show him something flaming."
Yes.
Oh my!
In answer to Mr. King, Lottie will just kind of shrug. You're like, okay. I figured you maybe wanted someone who was actually interested.
It's not an offense.
Looking a little bitter.
It's a promise I made.
It's also, well, Mr. King, it's not that there's not the lack of interest, it's what you're trying to teach does not come very easily to many of the members of the Order proper.
And
oh God, is it
he's going to say, yes,
essentially.
And he's just going to say,
I'm just going to use Texas as it.
A better bourbon. Poof.
There you go.
Look, I never said that it would be easy. I never said it would be fun, but I'll be damned if you can't agree with the tactical and strategic benefits of passing that among those of us.
No, I entirely agree, which is why I supported it, and which is why we found you students. However, ultimately, they are only going to be as capable as their mindset allows them to be, and what you're suggesting to them bends their mindset a little bit off kilter.
Then I have a request.
What's the request?
I have the request for a adaptive learning field facility. So that people can learn easily while they are there, and when they exit, they don't know how they learned it, but they know it.
That's
not necessarily like robbing the mind of will, but allowing it easy while they are there, but not allowing it when they are not there until they learn it.
I'm disinclined to do this, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because ultimately, sometimes in order to learn something, you must strive to learn it. Thus, the knowledge has value. If we essentially download it in or make it easier to go into someone's mind, then frankly, why don't we just do this all the time? Because ultimately, we have shown the fact that if this happens, the knowledge is incomplete at best, or they do not gain the hunger or the drive for the knowledge that they are being imparted with. Your students will learn. It will just take time.
To be fair, you're not wrong. And while I have the ability to teach it, I am only an adept at it myself. I have theories about what's next, and I think I can do it, but I don't know when I can breach that barrier.
That is entirely on your shoulders, Mr. King. ultimately, what you are explaining to us is a different worldview than we normally use. So I considered the fact that we were able to find a handful of students who we think could meet your worldview to be impressive, to say the least.
You're not wrong, and I know this. Ah, I'm going to use a phrase, and I won't use this again tonight if I can help it. But while you are right, and while I agree with it, and while I agree with what is behind it, it's terribly inefficient.
Welcome to the Order of Hermes.
Lottie's going to do two things. She's going to, one, snicker at D'Onofrier's offhand comment of welcome to the Order of Hermes, and just raise her hand, as if she's in school.
Yes.
I know you guys are not actually talking about taxes, but your conversation is perfect for trying to introduce a bunch of college students into taxes that they don't want to learn, but need to.
We kind of are, ironically, talking about taxes. We're talking about. I don't mind. We're talking
It's okay.
about the technocracy have a different way of using and utilizing the prime sphere than we do, and essentially Mr. King is attempting to teach their view of the prime sphere to the Order of Hermes, and it is going slowly, but it is going.
For example, I can give you a showing. This it kind of looks up in the ambient air. Host, are you still here?
Yes.
Would it be possible for me to do something in relation to Agrabah Nights? Specifically, what I would need and what it would do is it would temporarily drain a small amount of quintessence, and all I would need is the theoretical records of today's business. That's it. Nothing more. And I will return the quintessence to the facility after the fact.
The host doesn't. The host didn't physically appear. She just spoke.
Yes.
However, when you look down, you will see a large ledger book is in front of you.
Okay. So I want you to pay attention to this, because I'm not going to explain it entirely, but I will explain the cliff notes of this. My prior organization, my prior organization viewed the quintessence of the world as being generated by time and effort and the will and energy of those within it, i.e. business, commerce, economy. And through this, they are able to, well, let me make this for example. If you were to view this establishment through the eyes of the prime sphere, you would likely see energy in relation to the fact that it has, for lack of a better way, massive amounts of spells on it. However, what you would not see is a node. So, in theory, I should not be able to do what I'm about to do from your knowledge of prime. And quite literally, what I'm doing, Evan, is I'm casting my rote to draw quintessence from a business based on my sympathetic connection to it and the fact that it's actually a business. And I'm using the records I have in front of me as the tool. It's my paperwork, yada, 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 yada.
You do that thing, sir.
I am doing that thing. And to make a point, I will spend a willpower on it because I don't want to fuck up.
Not fucking up is often important.
Yeah, so that's 3 successes. And as he's...
I was going to say, it is a level 3 road, isn't it?
It is a level 2 rope for me. Okay, it's difficulty 4. Yeah, so it's 3 successes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so as he's writing, he begins writing some things in relation to the budget for the day, the expenditures, yada, 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 what all ties into that, the theoretical net profit of the place and whatnot. And when he finishes the last pen stroke, that's when the spell kicks off.
Okay.
If you would have liked to have your prime side on in the meantime, you can feel free to do so, I think, for Lottie.
Sure, give me a sec.
And I need 2 seconds.
Require more than 2 seconds. I don't think Lottie really has much prime. She doesn't really use it. 1 sec.
Does she have prime 1?
Yep, she was Prime 1. Yeah, she was good.
Hooray. I played a mage for a year who never had a daughter prime.
I mean, to be fair, she doesn't have any correspondence whatsoever.
Okay, sorry about that. But yes, did the effect.
Sorry, Discord's being a butt. Discord, why? There you are.
Because Discord has betrayed you.
It's betraying me a little bit.
What's your dice pool? You got it?
Just 2. I'm doing it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got 1 success.
Yeah, that's fine. You see it. Basically, when Mr. King does the last pen stroke, his body and his avatar thereof is infused with more quintessence. You basically see him light up for a brief moment as more quintessence floods into his system.
Shiny.
See, we don't do it like that. We don't understand the world in the same way Mr. King does, so that's why it's an interesting little concept for us.
Yes, because you quite literally could turn every single business owned by any of the Order of Hermes into a node without it being a node.
You're able to siphon energy from it.
Yes.
I guess, seeing energy through a different perspective, which would mean that the energy is always there, you just don't have the capability in order to harness it without that kind of mindset. So you have to change the way you think in order to utilize it.
I remember it was pretty interesting. Originally, the city of Seville in the southern Spain used to be a technocratic stronghold. And then back in the 1980s, we were sent in order to take it back due to various different political and socioeconomic reasons. And this master, or this Magister Mundi, or Archmage, who was unfortunately lost when we suffered the Avatar storm. His name was Drayton. Drayton Bunny Bonisagas. Fascinating individual. Archmage was prime. What he did was, for one night, or rather for 1 minute, he turned the entire city of Seville into a gigantic node. He blew every technocratic circuit you could think of. Because in that moment, the city itself generated so much quintessence, it overloaded everything.
I can believe it, but I don't want to think about that paperwork. You don't want to know the amount of paperwork I would have to do to even begin to think about that.
You're in the Order of Hermes now. In the Order of Hermes now, Mr. Bobocrat. Sometimes we literally have to fly, well, when the seat of our pants are literally 20 paces behind us.
I luckily have avoided that.
Lottie will very audibly knock on the wood of the bar. You say that now. You feel comfortable about it.
Yes, I do. I will not forget the last time I transdimensionally located.
Neither will the person you vomited on.
Like puke everywhere?
Yes, I don't know what causes it,
but
every time I switch dimensions, my body vomits profusely.
Maybe it's like some weird dimensional motion sickness. When you step out of the dimension you're supposed to be.
He unconsciously will rub the base of his neck.
I theorized it was because it was stepping through whatever, be it the gauntlet or the distance between places, was in some way upsetting to his system.
Maybe. I just think my genius doesn't like it.
Or
sorry, Avatar.
I mean, whatever goes on with you and your genius is all your own thing.
You're going to make him blush.
I don't blush, sir.
That
Well,
becomes
not willingly.
fascinating.
No, listen. Like I said, Lottie, if you need your books done, I will give you a reasonable rate. And before I forget, 1, 2, and then the following round, the third quintessence back into the ether that is Agrabah Nights.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm done with this now. Thank you, host. He just holds up the piece of paper above his head.
The book will disappear.
Yep. And one for you, and he'll send out a remaining quintessence into the ether towards the idea of the host.
Okay. Oh, I don't know.
Host won't say no to that.
But the D'Onofrio kind of shrugged as she says, ultimately, the city is in some semblance of what I would call peace. Of course, things occasionally decide to crop up, like the fact that the True Way decided to park their gigantic flagship in the umbral space above the city for a day. Fortunately, that's gone now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then again, Cypher 9 is a complicated individual thing, monster, whatever, all of the above.
I need to make an involuntary strength check.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad it's so low.
What are you doing?
He's squeezing the bourbon glass.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's a botch. That's good.
Does the glass go poo
Oh, wait, that's too many dice. I only have 2. Why did I hit 3?
I mean, it's a, we'll
It's
just
still a
discount.
botch.
Oh, well, there you go. No, what happens is Mr. King's hand will shake literally uncontrollably as he attempts to crush down on the glass, but the glass is just much more physically sound than, his hand is, so the hand will very visibly shake, spilling the alcohol contents onto the table.
Mr. King.
He's going to finish his drink once again, and as he puts it down, before I make the stam check, so I know I have to make it again, Evan, I'm going to eat that man's heart.
Hmm.
Do you want mustard or something?
Just a failure, yay.
The hand will still be shaking because he's unable to crush the glass, but yeah, you will put the shot glass down.
Yep.
Whose heart is Mr. King going to eat?
And
Just
he and
curious.
the individual named, he and the former overseer Cypher 9 have history.
Were we Ian or what?
Cypher 9.
Oh God, yeah, no, go ahead. Please do all sorts of things to his body as long as it turns into mulch afterwards or whatever kind of recyclables can be donated to, I don't know, some sort of elementary school where they can torture him.
No. Given the chance, I'm going to eat his heart, incinerate the remains of his body, and throw those ashes into the sun.
I mean, sure. That is also a good idea. You need a ship to go up that far. I think we can probably borrow.
No, I don't.
know, Eliza's.
Don't need a ship.
So you don't want the satisfaction of throwing it into the sun and watching it from afar?
Oh, sure, but I don't need a ship.
Cypher 9 made certain threats against the etheric existence of loved ones as it pertains, Mr. Beauregard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one
He's
way I
not.
think you and I are in common, Miss Lottie.
Yep. The worst possible way that he can go, times 12. 2 for good luck. 2 extra for good luck.
This is the man, after all, who had the ship core of the Leviathan set to dump the etheric core into the field.
Yep. Yep.
Quite fond of innocent people
On a
his
different
friends.
note, it felt extremely good to destroy his decoy body in the middle of my shop a few months back.
Oh,
I should think that some Schadenfreude was indeed necessary.
That's the one where it's the happiness at the misfortune of others, yes?
Correct.
Yes.
it's very cathartic.
Well, my dears, much as I don't want to, I can't afford to take another day off work, so I need... Host, what would you recommend that would give me enough alert, well-being of mind to keep me awake for at least the next 16 hours? And then let me crash out afterwards?
Masala chai would be a great suggestion. Just saying.
I take it the host does not respond.
Sorry, what did you ask? I was reading something.
You're fine. He asked for the host's recommendation of whatever could be given to him that would keep him awake for the next 16 hours but allow him to sleep afterwards.
Do you say poof?
Poof.
There we go. Something that looks to be like it is lime green and in a very tall, almost beaker-like glass appears on your table.
Waste not, want not. He's going to drink it all in one gulp, and I'm spending a fucking willpower.
Okay, that tastes absolutely, incredibly, and wordlessly vile. However, I was gonna say, make me a stamina check.
I'm making a stamina check, and I spent that willpower, sir. Yeah, I got a 10 as well.
Okay, you feel your heart literally start to go. You know the old one, a mile a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
gotta go faster, 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 Sonic. Yes.
Yes.
Essentially, Mr. King, you will be Sonic the Hedgehog. It's fine.
Vroom vroom, zoom zoom zoom.
And on the note of Mr. King getting high off his face on some kind of accelerant, we will end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching this scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.